Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Natasha. I'm new to YouTube and I'm posting daily videos about topics that I feel like people will resonate with. And today I'll be talking about the things I love about being single. The reason this popped up today is because I had 3 friends reach out and ask for advice on being single. To put it into context, I've been single for 3 years now, and before those 3 years, so I'm 29 now, and up to the age of 27, I've always been obsessed with men and in relationships, lots of toxic relationships, I was toxic, they were toxic, it was toxic situations, I had a lot of wounds, I had a lot of healing to do. So yeah, I broke up with my last serious relationship 3 years ago, and then I jumped straight into dating. So I was just dating left, right and center just to try and escape from my emotions. So I probably could have healed quicker if I hadn't have done that. But yeah, I did, and then I started drinking a lot of alcohol, I started going out a lot, became pretty addicted to dating actually, and it wasn't healthy, it wasn't good for me. And over the past 2 years I've had a real spiritual awakening, and I now see how energetically the negative effects of sleeping with guys that you're not in a wholesome relationship with is so damaging for your spirit, for my spirit anyway. Maybe I'm more sensitive than others, but I just can see clearly how when you get intimate with somebody, even if it's just kissing or allowing each other into the deeper parts of yourself, you create an energetic cord, and it's really hard to break that. In my experience, it's really hard to break that energetic cord. So if you go all in straight away with someone on the first date or so, it's hard to break it off. And I also think that you carry their negativity around with you, which can make made me act really rationally, and my life was chaotic. I was just on a different planet. And now, after 3 years of being single, I'm so happy to be single. My life is so peaceful, and I just want to go through all of the things that I love about being single. So the first one is solo dating. So when I first became single, I went on my first solo date, was my first Valentine's Day being alone, and I went to Park Lane, very bougie. I had champagne and lobster, and I started writing a book actually that I'm still working on. I was writing a book, I had some champagne, I was flirting with the waiter. I had such a good time. It was lovely, and I didn't even have to dress up, which was nice. I wasn't trying to impress anyone. I was just going to enjoy the food and just to experience a solo date. So after that, I then started going to the cinema on my own. What else? Just, there's a first to do everything alone when you're newly single, and it could be you might have gone to the gym a lot with your partner, or you might have not gone shopping alone, you might not be used to sleeping alone, you might not be used to socializing alone or going to see family alone. There's just so many things that you've got to do your first solo X, Y, and Z, and they can be really exciting and also really boost your confidence. It's given me so much more self-worth having independence, knowing that I can do anything that I did in a relationship on my own. So you don't have to miss out on romantic dates or the places that you used to go with your ex. You can still do all of those things, just learn to do it alone. And it might be a little bit upsetting or triggering at first because memories will come up, but you've got to feel those and process them and just know that it's normal to feel sad. But I'll tell you, I've been triggered so much over the last few years, and finally all of those triggers are gone. I'm now living back in Fulham, where I was living with my ex, and for 2 years I couldn't even come near Fulham because I was so scared of bumping into him, but also the memories that linked to what was quite a painful relationship. I just couldn't come here, and now I live here and I love it, and I love living here, and I have no fear of seeing any of my exes because I'm so happy, and I would just wish them all the best. I have no resentments towards them. So yeah, it's been quite a healing journey of working on all of my anger and resentments, and also grieving. There's so much grieving to get through, but I'm talking about the positive things here, so sorry. More sleep. You don't have someone ruining your sleep schedule. You can sleep 8-9 hours and you don't have to wake up because someone else is waking up. You don't need to stay up late watching a movie with them because it's the only time you spend together. You just can focus on your career, your hobbies, your friends, your family, and most importantly, your sleep and your health. Because for me, that is so important. That's so important. At the end of the day, we're born alone and we die alone. Throughout our lives, we've only got ourselves. It's not really fair for us to depend on other people anyway, including family. Like, we really should be self-sufficient, and I think with building that comes self-confidence and self-worth. So I'm glad that I managed to gain that out of being single, because I was definitely dependent on partners and family, especially financially, in the past, which I don't want to be anymore. I want to build generational wealth, and I don't want to have to depend on anyone. So the next thing was finding new hobbies. So in the first year, I went to some really prestigious gyms, which I absolutely loved, and they were very expensive, but so worth it at the time, because that was like a self-care little treat for me, something I wouldn't have done when I was in a relationship. So I went to Third Space and Equinox gyms, and I really enjoyed that. I started yoga classes, boxing. I tried all the classes. I didn't like the high intensity. I only liked the yoga and the Pilates, to be honest with you. I'm quite a slow queen. I didn't like the aggressive classes. They were scary, and I don't really like to lift weights. I started going to church in Clapham, Holy Trinity Clapham. Oh my gosh, the best church in London. So many young people. It's so fun, vibrant. Susanna and Jago, who lead the church, they are just the most amazing people I've ever met in my life. So welcoming. There was no judgment. I told them about all my sins and my past, and they just think it's great. I even did a speech in the church about vaping, and it's just such a modernized, open church. There's a lot of gay people, gay speakers. I just love it there. So that's another hobby. Writing, traveling. I started a female-only community, which is growing, and we do trips abroad. My life is just really full and rich. I almost feel like there's not enough time in the day to do all of the things I love. I'm not even working at the moment, and I'm so busy all the time. So I don't know how I would find time for a man now. I can't even imagine it. Don't get me wrong, I do want to get married and I do want children, but if that doesn't happen, if that's not God's plan for me, I'm gonna have a great life anyway, because I'm surrounded by community, hobbies. I feel like I have a purpose, I have drive, I have my family to take care of. I'm just happy, yeah. So self-worth and self-care. Wow, I didn't realize how much I hated myself until I became single and healed. I'd always put my self-care on the back burner. I didn't invest in things like skincare or, clothes that were of quality or organic foods. I just kind of molded into whatever would suit the partner. And that was so detrimental to my health, physical and mentally. I ended up with addictions. I ended up with an eating disorder. I ended up an alcoholic. And yeah, I don't think those things would have happened if I'd have stayed away from toxic men. But, I've learned from it, I've grown from it, and I hope that I can help others come out of that in the future. I'm only 18 months sober, so I'm still a newbie, but I'm really learning more and more about addiction as time goes on, and it's so interesting. So there's another hobby I have, and another community of people. There's so many sober people these days, it's almost cool to be sober. So and then the healing and the growth that came out of it. So I was such a mess. When I first got sober, I was incredibly underweight, and then I started binge eating. I became overweight, and as I said, I was going on all these different dates with all different men, and I was just all over the place. I felt so lonely. I felt left out of my friend group at the time. Didn't really have any close friends, didn't have any hope, didn't have my church, didn't have a connection with my family. I was just broken. I was so broken, mentally, physically, spiritually broken. And I went through a lot of healing, including psychedelic remedies, what's that poisonous frog thing? Kambo. I did some Kambo healing, cacao workshops, Reiki healing, inner child compassion therapy, cold showers, just beating myself to wake up at 4 a.m. and doing all this exercise and writing, journaling. I was recording videos like this actually, but I wasn't posting them, and I deleted them because I was embarrassed about how fat I was. So I was kind of YouTubing but then deleting it. I was YouTubing without putting it on YouTube. So that happened. I've been through 3 different jobs. I started working in the corporate sector. Don't really recommend, but we'll see. I might end up there again, who knows. The money's nice, the perks are nice, but a bit soul sucking. What else have I done? So yeah, over the 3 years of being single, I'd say the first year was a mixture of excitement but so much pain, and just feeling lost and confused and just fighting every day. The second year was a lot better. That's when I built my community. I got sober. I really started to build a foundation for myself. And third year now, I'm so happy. I'm just so happy. I promise you. Obviously, I have days. I deal with depression and anxiety sometimes too as well. But I am really working on my health. I have been diagnosed with ADHD and I'm now medicated. And I went on antidepressants for the first time in my life, and I actually needed them because my brain chemicals, I don't know. I'm not going to talk about that today because I don't know where my perspective sits on mental health and medication at the moment, to be honest. So I don't know how to edit videos yet, so we'll just cut that bit and throw it into the garden. Flexible career. When you're single, you can choose any career you want and you don't have to think about a partner, because you could literally pick up and go and work in America. You could work shift patterns, you could work nights, you could work mornings, days, part-time, and it's not going to upset anyone or upset your pattern with your partner. So you're free to do whatever you want to do, whenever you want to do, and you don't have responsibilities. Unless you have a dog. I'm not allowed to have a dog here where I live, but I highly recommend getting a dog. I would love a dog, and I can't wait to get a dog. It's going to be my bestie. It's less stressful being single, I feel, for me personally, because I don't have to think about the other person. I'm quite a people pleaser, and I always want to make sure my partner's happy. So for me, it's just relaxing to wake up and just think I've got to feed myself, financially provide for myself, and look after my health, and that's it. That's my only responsibilities, and that's great. It's so freeing and peaceful and stress-free. So yeah, I think that I've covered enough. One last thing is being able to just experiment, and I know that you should be able to do that with a partner, but I sometimes feel guilty when I'm in relationships and one day I'm dressing like a grunge emo and then the next I am ADHD, so maybe that's not all people, but the next day I want to be a pop star and I want to explore different styles in my clothing. And I feel like with a partner, if I had a partner anyway and they were doing that, I'd think a bit like, I don't know who you are one day to the next. So I'm still trying to find myself and become really secure in who I am before I offer my heart to somebody again. So yeah, thank you so much for listening. If you're single, pop in the comments your favorite thing about being single. I would love to hear it. And yeah, thank you so much for listening. I still can't believe I've got viewers. I've actually got subscribers. This is crazy. So yeah, thank you so much for listening.